We didn't really have the freedom to even film whenever we wanted because we had 4 other roommates at the time when we started this journey. I mean, you just figure it out. If you want something bad enough, you'll just figure out how to do it.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Forbes Top Creator Show. Today's guests, we have Micah and Sarah, who, get this everyone, a married creator couple famous for skits, music, family content. Micah, Sarah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're so excited to be here.
This is great. So I love your backstory. Like, you're not supposed to be here.
Correct.
You were in theater, you worked normal jobs, you started playing with social media, and suddenly it's become this massive brand and career.
Yeah.
So take me to the moment where you decided to make social media a full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you probably haven't heard this before, but COVID happened, and
Oh, that little thing.
Yeah. Do we remember that? That happened, and so my job was not happening. So I was home alone, and she was going to her job at the time.
Were you still
every other
in
week.
showbiz then, or what were the jobs?
At that time, we were both kind of working 9-to-5s to just kind of
Like corporate finance jobs.
Okay.
get a little bit more stable in our finances, and so the world shut down. She was going to work every other week where she was gone. She would leave. And so then I was home alone and I was just bored. And so I was like, well, I like doing dumb videos. I've always like done dumb videos in the past and just to like make my friends laugh or family. And so then I was like, well, let me post on this app where nobody follows me and knows me, which was TikTok. And so I posted on there and it was like, I don't know, the 3rd or 4th video blew up and went to like 8 million views in a week or so. And that's when that's kind of sparked the, this could become something here. Because I was just planning on like, I don't know, let's see where this goes. This is just like a fun outlet for me because we both are performers and have performing backgrounds. So it was kind of scratching that creative itch again. And that's when it kind of was like, this could become something. So like, let's see where this goes. And so.
Which videos were you shooting? And tell me which one went viral and why you think it did go viral.
Well, I was filming more just like comedic videos in the beginning. I mean, we still do, but I was doing
like little skits. Like
Yes.
skits with just him or where he'd play a few different characters.
Yeah, because it started just me. She really had no interest in doing social media.
She was actually working.
Yeah, she was working. She was bringing in the money, and I was having a good time playing. So, and the video that went viral was a video that wasn't even meant for social media. It was a video that we were at our honeymoon, and there was this infinity pool that's curved, and so from the outside, it looked like everybody's heads were separated from their bodies because of the curvature of the glass. Of the glass. And so when we noticed that, we thought that was hilarious just to see people doing that. And so then I acted as like a crab, or I was talking to my body. And so we did that for her entertainment.
Yeah, I was filming it and I was like, do this, do that. And this is hilarious.
And so it had no intention of even posting that because we didn't do social media at all. Like I posted maybe once a year on my Instagram, never got to 1,000 followers. And so then posted that and people just like, were obsessed with that. Just thought it was hilarious, or like wondering like, how is this working? How is this happening? My mind is melting. And so, yeah, I think it went viral because it's interesting. It was something that it's not a trend. It's not something that is, I don't know, people have seen probably very much of. And so people were just fascinated of how it works.
Yeah, I was going to say the engagement of people commenting and being like, how is this happening? What is the science behind this? I feel like just kept pushing it out.
Answering.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, it was entertaining, funny, but also, like you said, mind-bending, and people started debating the physics and stuff.
Yeah.
So you got this video that you didn't even shoot for social, but you put it on social.
Yeah.
It got 8 million views.
Yeah.
What next?
So then we were getting messages from managers and different agencies of being like, hey, can we monetize this? And we're like, oh, whoa, wow. It's all happening so fast. Not managers to represent us just yet. It was just like people that wanted to monetize that video specifically. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I was just like, okay, well, let's just keep going with this. And then I started to bring her in to the content kind of like mid 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
We started posting at the beginning of 2021. And yeah, it was like mid 2021.
Yeah. And then started bringing her in the content, and then that content did better than the ones that were just me. And so then I was like, okay, you gotta go, you gotta keep doing this. And then I was like, we should decide, like, we should be a couples creator account and like make that a thing. So then from that day forward, it was like, okay, we're going to do everything together. And in the beginning, she was pretty apprehensive of doing it. She didn't really have any interest in doing social media.
Just the thought of like putting yourself out there, like that can be scary. It's not something I'd ever done. I've been on stage, but it's like, that's just 2 hours where someone watches me. They're not watching me at home. I'm not in their living room. They're not like, I don't know, seeing bits and pieces of my life that can feel personal. But seeing how much it lit him up made me want to participate. And then I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. Mm-hmm. And this is a way that we can be creative together. And like you said, scratch that itch that we had kind of put on the back burner. So to be able to engage in that again and do it together felt really special. And it sort of bonded us in a new way. And it didn't take long for me to get on board.
Yeah.
Sarah, what was your corporate job? What were you doing at the time?
Actually, at that time, I was working for a family. And so I was kind of their everything. I was like this family's personal assistant person. Okay. So they had relocated upstate during the pandemic. Okay. So I would go and I would stay with them for a week, and then I would come home for a week. And so I would be gone for an entire week at a time, which made for a really interesting schedule of creating content for us when we decided to go kind of all in on that.
Yeah. So we basically had to bank. So when she was here for a week, we would film basically double of everything so that I had enough to post for the next week while she was gone.
Were you worried about having this, job for probably, it sounds like a serious family, and then suddenly you're showing part of your life in skits? Like, did you talk to them about that? Like, did you worry about how your creator side gig would influence your career?
I honestly didn't, because I was very open. In every job I had, I was very open that it was a job that I was like, this is for a time. This is not, I'm not necessarily looking to grow. Because we wanted to have our own business. We weren't sure what that would look like, but we wanted to be entrepreneurs. We wanted to work for ourselves. And we were just in the process of figuring out the right path of doing that when content creation came into our life and was like, oh, this is the perfect path for us. So I was always very transparent with my employers that I was like, I'm going to give you my all when I'm here, but I don't want to take my work home with me. So I was pretty straightforward about that, but I didn't anticipate content becoming what it did. So I wasn't even thinking like, hey, just FYI, like I'm going to be out there. I wasn't thinking that far ahead. I didn't have the same vision that he did for what it could turn into. So I think because of that, I wasn't thinking too much about that.
Wow, that's so cool. Now, let's go back for a second. First of all, you guys are obviously a married couple. You have a child. It's core to your content. Tell everyone, how did you first meet?
Yeah, that's an interesting story.
Yeah, we met doing the national tour of Beauty and the Beast, the musical, which was a really fun way to meet. Because we got to have all these really fun experiences together at the beginning of our relationship, but it also lent itself to being like, I don't know, it was almost like The Bachelor, if anyone's familiar with that show, where it's not real life, where you're having fun, you're getting paid to do what you love.
You're in a bubble.
Yeah, you're in a bubble. It's kind of like a paid vacation almost. Not that you're not working hard, because you are, but you're not worrying about the normal things that you do in your day-to-day New York City life.
Yeah, tell me about that. What's life like on the road? And I assume like you guys were on stage, like singing, dancing, acting.
Yeah.
And like, do you stay in cities for a couple weeks or a couple days? Like, how did that kind of go?
It totally depends on where we are. There were certain cities where we were there for a full week, and we would do 8 shows that week, and then we would get on the bus and travel to the next spot and then the next day do shows for 8 shows a week. And but then there are some where it was one show days. So I know there was like a week span where we did one show day every single day, which what that is you travel on a bus. So, you have a bus buddy. So one of you is sleeping on the floor, one of you is sleeping on the chair, and then you switch because the floor is actually more comfortable. And then you travel into a place, you do the show that night, you sleep that night, and then the next morning you get up, you get on the bus, you travel to the next spot, you do the show that night, you sleep that night, so you do that. We did that for 7 days in a row, and that was hard.
That's on the road. That's like
on the road.
Yeah, you're like
it's hard.
Like
it's hard on the body.
Right.
I'll tell you that. And so we didn't have a ton of one-nighters.
No, we didn't.
But we did that. I mean, the longest we had when it came to days off was 2. I think we didn't have more than 2 days off.
No.
For the entire 10 months of tour. And so it was kind of crazy.
So you guys met there and started dating, whatever that means on tour.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we met on tour. We started dating, and then when we came back to New York, we were kind of like, okay, was this just a showmance or is this like a real thing? And so so we'll see. We were kind of testing the waters of seeing like, okay, let's see what a relationship is when we come back to New York.
And when there's actual like struggles, like when we actually have to work restaurant jobs that we don't care for, we have to pay our rent, we're auditioning, like when we're back in the grind that feels less comfortable. And I think for us, we pretty quickly realized that we both wanted to work for ourselves. And for like the idea of business ownership and being in business together was something that kind of bonded us from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we got back to New York, we were talking a lot more about the vision that we had for our lives long term, and the fact that we had similar vision when it came to wanting to do something impactful, wanting to do something on our own terms, like that. It was exciting to have someone who wanted that same thing. So I feel like that was a big thing that kept us together when it was a little harder when we got back to New York City.
And I want to go back to the theater because this is fascinating. I've never interviewed folks with theater background. So you're professionally trained, you're professional entertainers. How does that translate, and like what advantage does that give you when you take your theater background and then make videos for social media? Yeah,
I mean, I think we're more comfortable maybe in front of the camera, even though neither of us had done a ton of camera work at that before then. But maybe I would say in the performing aspect, because a lot of our content, we don't really have like one niche. We do singing videos, we do dancing videos, we do a couple like comedy related videos, and so but all of that kind of is lent to us being performers, and that kind of helps just be it comes a little bit more naturally, I would say, when doing videos like that. Would you say?
Yeah, I think it's because we haven't we have a few different formats that we do of our content. We have like a built-in skill set of entertainment when it comes to singing, dancing, musical theater type stuff. And people, since we have such a family-friendly channel, it just like doing musical theater-y stuff we already had that in us. So we were like, oh, we can do this, but on our own terms.
Right.
Because it's not that we ever wanted to stop performing. We didn't. I was always like, this is something that I want to do as long as I possibly can.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to be able to afford my life. So it was the balance of figuring out how to marry those things, which social media was kind of the answer for that.
That's amazing. And when you talk about social media being the answer, so you were moonlighting, you were working as a chief of staff for a family, you were thinking about all the ideas. Tell me the moment when you both decided that this should be our startup, this should be our profession. We're going to go full into social media.
I think it came to me before her. At the time, we were really grinding and trying to build an online business, like an e-commerce business at the time, and we have been doing that for 6 years. And so a lot of our attention was going into that. And so that was probably mid 2021 was when we started being a couples creator account, and then that was when I was like, okay, like let's go all in for a year with this thing. and see what happens. And what all in to me at that time was like, I am going to do nothing but post 2 to 3 videos every single day for a full year, and not think about and not get too hung up on how many followers are we getting or what are the views or anything like that. I was just like, for a full year, I'm just going to focus on the consistency of posting every single day, at least a couple videos every single day. Just because with what I was researching when it came to growing on social media, it was like the same thing was just post consistently and post as many times as you can consistently on the daily. So I'm like, okay, so that's where my focus is. Not going to focus on the results. So did that. But while we did that, we both worked 9 to 5s because at that time, COVID, subsided, and I got a new job at a 9 to 5. She got a new job at a 9 to 5. We were both working in finance.
What were you guys doing? I love these details.
Yeah, we were working
like office administration.
Stuff. At different corporate jobs.
Were you going into the office? Or you were working
in
remote?
the office? Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Both of us were in the office every single day. So we did that, and then we would come home. Monday through Friday, we would be, working on building our e-commerce business and trying to build that out.
And what were you selling with e-commerce?
Like consumable
goods.
Yeah.
And so
what food?
Like laundry detergent, cleaning supplies, supplements, like all different kinds of stuff.
Okay.
And that was Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday, we would bank all our content. So we would film 10 videos on Saturday, and Sunday we would film probably because what it was like 14. Yeah. So we would do like 8 or 10 videos on Saturday, and then Sunday as many as we can on Sunday, and then rinse and repeat. Monday, go in the office, work our jobs, come back, try to scale the business, and then on Saturday was like social media. Saturday and Sunday were social media time. We did that for a full year, and neither of us left our jobs in a full year. It took until, when did you leave your job?
2023.
2023.
I think.
Yeah. So it took like 2 years of us basically doing that and grinding that to get to the place where we were like, okay, now she can leave her job. And then a few months later, I left mine, and we were like, okay, let's do this jump and go all in.
Did your grinding plan work? Because it's funny, I interview all different types of creators. Some folks say they grind every day, and then they look back, and then 2 years later they have traction. Other people post once or twice, and somehow lightning in a bottle, and it goes crazy.
Yep.
How did it work with you? How did your plan work?
I mean, for us, like looking back, if I could do it over, we would have just stopped doing the e-commerce thing and went all in on social media immediately, and then just done that and taking our Monday, like Sunday to Sunday, as opposed to just doing Saturday and Sunday, banking all the content so we have that to post throughout the day. But hindsight's 20/20. But when it came to us, I mean, it worked pretty well when it came to feeling secure in our jobs, like having an income and then being able to post, because it wasn't until like a year in, because we had, for us, it was finding the right manager that believed in us, that could get us the brand partnerships for us to feel comfortable to leave our jobs.
Right, because even though there was what's the third video you posted, even though that one went viral, we didn't have like exponential overnight growth. It was very, very gradual.
Yeah.
So that's how our growth on social media has always been. We've never been $1 million one month, like 2 million the next month.
It's grown faster,
right?
But never like the next month was $1 million, next month 2 million, next month. Like we've heard other creators that were like, oh, that must be nice. We just, that hasn't been really our journey.
But over that year of doing that grinding schedule, like it proved to us that even though it was incremental, it's like, okay, well, we just keep going, and it'll just keep growing incrementally. And we're fine with that. We're fine with continuing to put in the work to just make it grow. We're leveling up on the quality of our content.
Yep.
He edits all of the videos. So it's like he was getting, with all the content we were doing, he was getting so much editing practice. So he was just getting better and better at the editing. And it was more about that. It's more about the growth of the skill set, which then allowed us we spend a year doing that and being like, okay, well, we can probably multiply this over a second year and see how that goes. But it was never overnight, but the bit by bit growth was was encouraging enough for us to keep going.
Yeah.
I like that. It sounds like, we said it's almost like you put yourselves through a social media boot camp where you're getting better at shooting, getting better at editing, getting better at coming up with ideas. And about that, so you were working multiple jobs during the week, and then you're blocking it during the weekends.
Yep.
Tell me about your process, and if it's changed or not, but tell me about your process of how did you come up with an idea? How did you shoot? How did you edit? Like, take me from like the origin of a video to all the way through to posting?
The first year to 2 years, how many years were we with the roommates before we left? Was it
year and
when we
change.
started? About a year?
Yeah.
So the first year when we were doing the...
First, sorry to interrupt, but tell everyone about this living situation, because I thought it blew my mind.
Yes, no, well, that's what I'm going to get to, because I'm like, to put in another wrinkle in the thing is we were living with 4 other roommates at the time when we started this journey.
They all in theater as well?
Except Alex.
Yes, all but one.
Okay.
And so we were all living together, and it was COVID, so everyone was home. So when it came to filming, we literally, and we wanted to be respectful and to our roommates, we would be like, hey guys, is there a good 2 hours that we can have the living room so that we can bang out as many content as well. And so we had to do that every Saturday and Sunday. So we didn't really have the freedom to even film whenever we wanted, because we had 4 roommates that we wanted to be respectful of. So we would do a handful in our tiny room that had groceries under the bed and a closet that wasn't even enough for one person, let alone 2. And we would do as many as we could in there and figure that out. And then we would do when we could have a time block to do as many in the living room that we could. And we would do that on a Saturday and a Sunday, and then Monday through Friday, we didn't really film any at all. But if there was a moment in there where maybe they were gone, or maybe we had some time, or okay, let's get one in here, we would do that. And then looking back, it's like, I can't. I mean, you just figure it out. If you want something bad enough, you'll just figure out how to do it.
Yeah. So I wanted to know is you're blocking on the weekends and you're shooting on these videos.
Yeah.
Tell me about your creative process. How did you come up with ideas about how to post and what to post?
It's kind of twofold. We have a constant notes app that's just we just put on whenever we're going throughout our day, and so something
we have
happens.
an interaction.
Yeah, an interaction. And it's okay, that's relatable, that's funny. Let's just jot it down, and then from that we are okay, so how can we create, what do we want to do with this? Do we want to make this a comedy skit? Do we want to make this more of a POV? Do we want to do this where I'm acting like you? And then so we have the idea, and then we figure out what the concept or how the format of how we want to film that video, and then we script it out, and then we film it. But when it comes to ideas, it's just living your life, and it kind of comes to me, and then I'll jot it down to a note, and then part of it is just kind of getting ideas from other creators as well, and seeing a concept that I think is funny, and how can I put my twist on it? I like that idea, because it really everything does start with an idea. And so when you have having an abundance of ideas is kind of like a gold mine, because then you can just figure out what you can do with those. And so once I have an idea, then it's just about, okay, how can I put my spin on it? And I try to do that with everything that we do, even trends. If we see a trend, it's okay, if we want to do this trend, how do we make it different? How do we not just do what everybody else is doing? How can we add maybe an extra, maybe some lines? If it's a thing that, a trend that where people are just kind of doing the same thing and there's nothing, how can we add maybe a scene or two to just make it a little bit different, to stand out a little bit, or a surprise moment? I'm always looking for a surprise moment in maybe certain scenes, so that if somebody is okay, I've seen this concept before, because really, if you're scrolling on social media, you have seen a lot of the same concepts kind of done, and you're I already know the punchline. Well, at least for me, I was I know where this is going. I see the punchline. So it's okay, well, how can we make it how can we make it maybe the punchline's similar, but how can we make it where it's a surprise, where when they're like, oh, I was not expecting that. Or here's the punchline, but here's the surprise moment, so that people are like, oh, that's different. Like that's really funny. And then it sticks in their brain a little bit more, where we're kind of like training, or training isn't the word, but it's like we want our audience to be expecting, oh, there's something funny coming. I'm going to wait for that.
Yeah, can you guys give me an example of one you kind of riffed on recently and how you add your own special element to it? How you add your own flavor to it?
So it's like how my husband reacts when I let out a little one when he is ripping them all day. So it, it starts with me just like going crazy, and then she lets out a little one, and then I'm reacting, but it's not just like it progresses and it gets bigger and bigger. My reactions get bigger and bigger where I'm like literally like throwing up and choking. And so it's whenever we think of like a topic or a relatable concept, it's like, how can we just like blow this up a little bit more? And like, how can we make it funnier? I'm always thinking about like, how can we make it funnier by adding, like, can it be bigger?
I'm going to say,
right?
I think there's a concept that I think is familiar that a number of people do, but we do a lot of, is like, I'm a clean freak. So what does that mean for him? Like how I expect him to operate around the house with certain ways I react to things that he does. And I think there's a lot of that out there. And I think for you, it's your, because the concept could be similar to something someone else has done, but the way it's your response. You have this, it's the way that he acts his response is always, yes, it's like, it's over the top, but it's not, it's like the perfect level of over the top, where I feel like there's just something about, people want to see how you're going to respond. Because it's like, he always does something funny, and it's a little bit different than what I've seen before. And so I think with the cleaning ones especially, it's like the way that you react is always, there's a little twist in it always, as to like, well, this is what I'm expecting, but you always do something that's just slightly different than I think what people are expecting. Yeah. You have a gift for that, I think.
A gift for reaction. That's very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're back in 2023.
Yes.
You both are working full-time jobs, corporate jobs. You're running your e-commerce site, and on the weekends you're shooting videos 10 hours a day or coming up with ideas.
Yeah.
What moment did you decide to make this a full-time job, to go all in on creators?
I think at that time we had stopped doing the e-commerce, right?
I mean, we weren't doing it as much.
Yeah. It was kind of just like becoming like less and less and less our attention. As this continued to grow, we were like, okay, we just need to, I think this is where we need to put our focus more into. Eventually, then we just were like, okay, this is the only thing we should put our focus into. In 2023, it was finding the right managers, honestly, for us.
But also, sorry to interrupt, but I think the decision to make this a full-time thing happened back in 2021. Yeah. Like the choice that like, we're going to turn this into something that is full-time. Not exactly sure the timeline of what that's going to look like, but we're willing to do whatever is required to turn it into a full-time thing. But then 2023 was when it was like, okay, we have found the right team of people that are have helped us learn how to monetize this effectively enough where we can let go of an income. Letting go, for me, quitting my job that didn't feel scary, because we still had his salary, his consistent salary. Yeah. And his health insurance. So that leap was exciting, but it didn't feel like it was as big of a faith leap as yours. Yeah. But we had enough, I mean, people have taken much bigger risks than us. Yeah, like we were pretty responsible, using quotes, as far as like how we were like, okay, we have enough proven evidence to say that we can jump and do this. But we were also like, this is not going to happen, but we could always get a job again if we really needed to. Yeah. So I'm sorry to cut you off. I think that's right. The decision to turn it into something full time came before the letting go of the jobs.
But yeah, you had the decision to go full time, but you both had the luxury of both having jobs that you kind of gradually get into it. You didn't have to burn the ships.
Correct.
And you could do both and
Correct.
have a safety net in case things go
Correct.
through.
And who knows, like if we maybe like we could have burned the ships way earlier and exponentially grown like quicker, and like that could have happened. That just like wasn't our story. I know there are people out there that were just like, I just like quit my job and went all in before they were really even like making that much. And so, and that's kudos to them. They like really believed in, like they literally put all their eggs in their own basket. And so, but it was, the frustrating part is like we were growing and we were doing, like we were witnessing and seeing people that had half our following and half our engagement that were doing it full time. And we're like, what's the missing piece here? Like where are we missing? And for us, it was finding the right managers, which we ended up meeting on. We did a cruise, the Norwegian cruise. We did a partnership with them, and we met them on that cruise, and they have helped us big time with like securing just more partnerships, better partnerships, for us to feel like, okay, now I can actually see this being a thing that we do full time and make that jump. And so she left in 2023.
Yeah, end of 2023.
And then I left in the beginning of 2024. And that was a little bit more of a faith jump, because it was like, okay, like this is now we have no health insurance. So we have to like pay for that out of pocket and stuff. And what ends up happening is she was pregnant at the time. And so it was like, do I ride out my job that has health insurance for her, or do we just like make this jump and just believe? Because I just believed, I'm like, I think this is the right decision, even though logically to the people, to most people, it's like, why don't you just ride out her pregnancy with your health insurance and then have your what's it called? Maternity.
Your paternity. Yeah.
My paternity leave, get that free money, and then quit after that. Logically, that makes sense. But I just had, I don't know, I had a belief that like we had momentum going at that time. I was like, I think there is room and there is growth that is missing because I'm not having this like bandwidth get freed up. And so I left in April while she was pregnant. We don't end up getting health insurance because there's a snafu and end up paying for all of the pregnancy out of pocket.
Everything out of pocket.
Wow, that's a lot. That requires a lot of videos. I'll tell you.
And but it ended up working out.
Yeah, it did.
Because I think like because of that, it like freed up bandwidth, freed up time to do even more and better quality stuff, and it's worked out.
That's great. I want to talk real quick about managers, because not many people talk about managers. I know they're very important.
Yeah.
What role do they play, and what difference did it make for your business? But also, there's a lot of folks out there, and it's kind of like dating in a way.
Yeah.
How did you find yours, and what made you choose your managers?
Yeah.
Well, we had two before, the ones that we had, two different ones, and one. So managers, a good manager, the ones that we have, they will take all incoming brand partnerships that are like that are reaching out to us, that want to work with us, and then they will negotiate the rate with them, do all the back end stuff, and then come to us and be like, hey, this is the rate that they're willing to pay. This is what they're expecting when it comes to deliverables. So whether it's a story partnership or a reel or a TikTok or a YouTube, and then we say yes or no, and then they go back and they take a cut, And so our first managers, they would only take incoming. They would do no outgoing. Oh, I forgot to mention that. And so that was good for the time, but then we're like, we want you to be pitching us to brands and not only, taking the receiving. I'm like, I could probably take the receiving and do the negotiating. So then we stopped that. And then we had another one, and their rate was pretty significant when it came to what they took. I think they took 33%. Am I okay saying numbers?
Sure. This is Forbes. We want as many numbers as you got.
Yeah. So the first one took 20%. The second one that we went with, It was a bigger agency, and we were like, okay, they did actually do outgoing as well as incoming when it comes to pitching, but they were taking 33%. And so they got us one partnership in 6 months when we were working with them. That ain't gonna cut it. So and at that time, that's when we met our now managers on Norwegian.
Yeah, so we got invited on this creator cruise on Norwegian. Okay. So our managers were there with another creator they represented. Okay. So we were meeting creators. That was our first kind of bigger networking opportunity where we were able to like actually talk to creators, learn more about their experience, and almost everyone on that ship was doing content creation full time. And so that's when we were like, okay, clearly there's a missing link for us. So
then we were both working full time and doing it and had like more followers than most people at that time. And they were like, everyone was confused that we were not full time. Everyone was like, how are you not full time yet? Yeah. How are you both still working?
So starting to be able to pick people's brains and then meet our managers it's a husband and wife team. And so when we met them and we started talking to them, we were like, okay, I like what you guys are saying makes sense, and it's like not what we're experiencing. Yeah. So then we had a conversation with them, and then we tried to figure out if we could leave our current management, which we did, and then we ended up going with Currents is our management company, and when did we sign with that? Must have been 2022. That was the end of 2022 that we
end of 2022
that we signed with them, and even with I think for us what has been so instrumental. I mean, they do all the back end things that we just would, our content would suffer if we had to negotiate our rate, pitch ourselves to brands. Yeah. That's a full-time job in and of itself.
I know some creators that do that.
I know.
And they don't want to give up that 20%, which is, I mean, noble. And I mean, good for you. If you can handle that and have the bandwidth to do that, great. You know, you're saving yourself some 20%. But for me, I was like, I don't want to have to think about that. I just want to see it. Like, I just want to only focus on creating content and then putting the content out. And so it just frees up. And I think because of that, it's well worth the
20%. Because we make exponentially more than we would if we were doing it for ourselves.
Correct.
But I think that came through being really transparent with our managers. We've had multiple difficult conversations where we're saying we're not happy with this. How can we change this? Like them giving us feedback, vice versa. Like we have a really open, transparent relationship. And I think that has been a huge reason why our partnership has been successful and why we still, they're like family to us now.
Yeah. Back to content. So, a lot of people in social media, they want to be shocking, provocative, edgy. What you produce is family-friendly, PG, very tame and compared to what's out there. Yep. What does that mean for your business as how you work with brands? And what does that mean for the algorithm with your business? Like, talk to me about the pros and cons of not being edgy, of being family-friendly.
When it comes to brands, I mean, I think brands love family-friendly. I don't know. Our managers have told us several times where brands are working with us because we are family-friendly and are happy that we don't have swearing or don't have sexual stuff or don't have these things in it because they feel comfortable with us promoting their stuff.
Yeah. When it comes to partnerships, I don't think it's held us back at all because we have had a number of things.
No, I think it's kind of opened up more doors.
Yeah, I would agree. Because there's some things where our managers are like, they do like a deep dive into videos to see what they see and if there could be anything inappropriate potentially that would show up in a video. And like you guys are always like such a clean slate when that happens. But as far as algorithm, go for it.
Yeah, and then people know what they're going to get. They're not going to come and all of a sudden be like, whoa, and like be surprised. We also we love hearing parents be like, my kids love watching you. And my kids, we have some parents being like, you're one of very few creators that I let my kids watch and look. And so that means a lot to us. Now that we have a child, it means even more. But algorithmically, I don't think it's held us back. I actually was just looking back on Instagram now has a Reels tab where you tap the Reels and you can see most viewed to the top and go down. And I was just like, I'm just curious and count it. And we have over 92 videos, I think closing in on 100 videos that have over 10 million views. And then over 30 close to 40 videos that have over 20 million views. That's just on Instagram. And so algorithmically, I don't think there has been moments where I'm like, oh, this is a funny concept, but I don't think we can do this. because it's funny to me and I know it would work and know it would do well. But it's just like, that's just like what we chose to do. And so there are moments like that, but people, you can figure out your own lane in social media and make it work for you. And there are people that go super viral doing the edgy, stuff. And there are people that go super viral doing very family-friendly stuff, like Zach King, pretty family-friendly, and he's pretty viral. Adam Rose, for the most part, is pretty family-friendly, I think. I don't know why I said for the most part. He's like, and he is super viral. And so I think it's just whatever lane you choose.
In terms of viral and spotting trends, what advice do you have for people for spotting trends and deciding I want to get in on this in what's going on? Like, how do you find it? How do you kind of pull the trigger on we're going to make our own version of this viral video?
I was just going to say, I think it's not worrying about if a trend doesn't suit you and what you do. Just don't worry about doing that trend. Like we do the trends that we know we can make ours. We're not concerned about about maybe there's a major trend that's going super viral and it's like, well, it doesn't fit, so we're not going to force it to be a fit for us because it's just not.
Yeah, that's spot on. Well, this is just us. There are certain creators that they do all the trends and they are successful and do it well, and so it's like that's great. For us, it really has to. I have to see a way that we can do this trend that we can make our own, because otherwise it's like, I'm not just going to do a trend to do a trend.
I have a working question. This is like, you're the first double podcast I've done, double guests.
Really?
Yeah.
But you're also a couple and you do family programming. So you're the first couple creators I've interviewed. And you live together, you're raising a son together, you're writing together, filming together, editing together. Like, tell me how you make that happen. And how do you get through the rough parts? Because I'm sure everyone gets sick of people. I'm in a marriage. It's always great, but it's always work. But you guys are like 24/7. It's your brand. How do you do it?
I mean, not to sound cheesy, but it doesn't feel hard. Like I love spending time with you. I love being creative with you. It's almost like, it's not that we're hanging out with different people, but there's like different versions of ourselves where it's like our relaxed husband and wife selves, and there's like our working husband and wife selves. And it's almost like it's like I love the working version of that, and I love the relaxed version of that, and I love the parenting version of that. I think it's a lot of communication, that's for sure. It's a lot of being honest about like, okay, this is, or if like I need my alone time. So it's just like being honest about like, I need 30 minutes to myself. And I'm going to be or I need 30 minutes to go work out because I'm starting to get really mean. So I need a moment for myself. Or even being like him being like, why are you being so grumpy? Like just having that,
you're like, I need to go work out.
Yeah. Having those.
That literally happened like 2 days ago.
Yes, exactly. Having those moments where it's like, okay, I think you need a moment, or I think I need a moment, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. Or she has to like remind me to maybe stop scrolling. I'm like so guilty of this. And I like, that is a struggle for me, is like, because I'm constantly trying to think of more ideas and new ideas. And it is a little hard for me to shut off. That's something that, I've had to work on, and I feel like having a structure to the day has helped.
Yes.
Like, so Monday through Friday is very much like work time for us, and we treat this like a 9 to 5, and it's more like a 9 to 6, 9 to 7, most days. Or 8. But we've structured it that way so that we have a little bit more of a healthy balance to it, because now that we have a son, we are very intentional with like what he is seeing. I know that they're taking in a lot. And so when I'm editing and because I'm going to be on my phone for a lot of that, I go to a different room so that he is not looking and seeing me on my phone 24/7 and not paying attention to him. I don't want him to think that the phone is more important to him. And so there's a little bit of a tricky thing with that. But we're trying to just figure it out and make that work. But what our days look like, just transparently, is we now have a personal assistant that comes to help watch him while we get stuff done. So she comes at 10, and then from 10 to 6, she comes from 10 to 6 Monday through Friday, and from 10 to 6 we wake up, we work out. As soon as she comes, she's watching them. We work out, which we're lucky enough to have a gym in our building. So then we just go downstairs, work out, we come back, we shower, and then it's filming time. Mm-hmm. So if we have partnerships, those take priority. So we have to we get those done, and then after that, it's like, okay, what organic stuff do we have that we want to film? And if we have some, then we bang that out. And if we don't, then I'm typically editing, and she is. What are you doing?
That I'm usually with Shelton.
Yes.
Because Kayla helps us with Shelton, but she does like all of our back end social media stuff, like sending analytics, helping with calendar management, emails, all that kind of stuff. So then I'll spend time with Shelton while he edits, and Kayla will do admin stuff. Yep. But yeah,
that's a great assistant, childcare and back end admin.
She's been a lifesaver.
Yeah,
she's been a lifesaver.
And then when she leaves at 6, that's when for the most part, we try to be like, okay, that's it. Now it's like family time and spend time. But sometimes, certain days are just busier. Like I like have to get these edits done and send it in for partnerships because there's deadlines to a lot of this stuff.
That's our next step of business is hiring an editor because it requires so much of his.
Yeah, we do everything ourselves, like film, edit, and do all that. So. That would be the next probably step for that. But yeah, so we do that. That's Monday through Friday. And then Saturdays and Sundays are a little bit more relaxed. Sundays have become more of a Sabbath for us where it's like, okay, we are like, I'm not stressing about posting on Sunday. If it does happen, great. If it doesn't, I'm like, Sunday is, we try to have that be our day. Of no social media.
Yeah, which you need because social media it's when it's your job and it's also entertain. Like it can become everything when it is your career. Mm-hmm. So having a time where it feels okay, because it can feel like if you put your phone away, you're falling behind immediately the second that you stop engaging with social media. Yep. So to get to the point where we feel like we're okay to have a day where we're not going to fall behind. It's actually better for us if we take the day. He has a much harder time with that than I do. But our son has helped with that boundary a lot because it's a physical representation of, something that needs attention and that we want to give attention to, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know if all creators feel this way, but it's just like, it's that. And maybe like all business owners or high achievers feel this way of just being like, well, there's always somebody else working harder, or there's always somebody else getting ahead. And even though it's not a comparison thing and it's not a competition, there's plenty of, opportunity out there. There is still that thing, like that feeling inside of like, I could be doing more, or like I could be getting ahead. I could be just getting better. And if I am not doing, then I am going backwards. Yeah. I'm getting worse. So that's always a thing that we're working on.
Micah and Sarah, tell me your creator career in 60 seconds or less.
All right, COVID happened. She was working, I wasn't, so I started making dumb videos. The third or fourth one went viral. That became the spark of, this could become something for us. And so I started bringing her into the content later on, and those did better. So I was like, okay, I guess we'll be a content or a couple's account. And then we went all in the middle of 2021 on this, doing 2 to 3 videos a day for a full year. And then in 2020, we did that for a full year. And then
and while we were doing that, we were working our 9-to-5 jobs.
Yep.
We were trying to build another business in the evening, and then we were filming all day, Saturday and Sunday. So it was very nonstop.
Banking content.
Yeah, so that we could have content to post every single day.
Yep. And we did that for a full year. And then after that, we just focused on posting once a day, but focused more on quality, because at that time we had banked enough knowledge of what's working, what's not, and a skill set to just be better. And then in 2023, she left her job. And then 2024, the beginning of 2024, I left mine, and we went all in, and the rest is kind of history.
Worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
Was there one brand deal that made all the difference?
No.
Gosh, I don't think
there was one brand deal that made all the difference. It was more of consistency of brand deals that were coming in that were like, okay, now we feel comfortable enough to like leave and go all in, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it was the idea of just wasn't even like the amount of money. It was the fact that we could make enough money to live doing this.
Yeah.
Like that's what, when we figured that out, that's what made what first of all shocked us and then made all the difference, obviously, in us going all in on it.
Yeah.
Well, and what advice do you have for other couples that want to leave their normal jobs and start as full-time creators? What would be your advice?
Posting every single day consistently. Like
No matter what.
There is no there's no other thing, because it's the way it's not only about, and as many times as you can a day, really. If you're starting out, post as many times a day consistently, whatever you can consistently do. Because not only are you're getting better every single time you do that, but you're also learning you're going to learn what is working, what isn't, and whatever works, double down on that, and it'll work out.
If you are a couple, you're also learning each other. You're learning like kind of what's your best role in the creative process and what's my best role. And doing that, the more you do it, the more you figure out how you can both, how you can complement each other and how you can become most effective as a creative team.
Micah and Sarah, thank you so much for joining the Top Creator Show today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.